All right. Welcome to this brief kind of interview. Get to know Justin Harris. Justin is one of our profit coaches. We were actually just chatting off air, if we call it, if this was like a podcast, about soccer, about life, all these kinds of things. And so we really want to take 10, 15 minutes. So if you're watching this, you're likely interested in CEO Finance Academy. You'd like to learn a little bit more about our profit coaches. And I'm really excited to introduce you to Justin Harris. So Justin, thank you so much for being willing to do this.
Of course. Thanks so much, Will.
I'm super excited. This is awesome for me because I know a lot about Justin, but there's still some like finer details of the business side that I'm excited to learn about from Justin, his experiences. And Justin, I guess one of the things I'd love to ask first is who's Justin the person? So Justin, I'd love to know just kind of like, hey, where are you based out of? Are are you a family guy? Are you single? What do you like to do in your free time? If we caught you on a weekend, what's Justin up to? So we'd love just a little background on Justin the person.
Yeah, of course. So I'm based in the Los Angeles area, and I'm one of those people where I feel like I like where I live because I can be active.
Yeah.
So I'm very much a kind of generic, but like to go on the beach, but I like to jog, be active, go down there. Like to hike in the mountains. So I feel like I like to spend a lot of my activities, which is mostly business, but like a lot of it just being active and being with my family. So on the weekends, you can find me either hiking, you can find me either at the beach, or doing something where I can say I can move my body. I feel like for me, like I like to just move, and it helps me think. It helps me flow through thoughts. It helps me think about what does this client need? How can I support a friend or family member? And then I do have my family. I have my awesome son, and then my wife. Like really fun. I love them, and I feel like they give me energy and give me support. And then I feel like also outside of that, one of the things when COVID hit, I was like, I love to travel. So that slowed me down a little bit there, but I feel like I'm back in the swing of things with traveling. And I just love seeing where other cultures do things, learning about new people, meeting new people. I'm very much a people energy person. Sometimes where people are like, I'm around people too much, it drains their energy. I feel like I get energy from that. So from even calls with people or just being around people, I'm a very people energy person. So I feel like that's a little bit about me. And then in
Yeah.
terms of other hobbies, like we were talking offline, I enjoy watching live soccer, football, sports, but then I also like history. I'm a big history buff of watching the History Channel, and that's my
Yeah.
nerdy side of like, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Very interesting. So I'm very nerdy with history. That's where if I watch any TV, it's generally history or a little bit of sports to learn, and then that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. I feel like we're the same person because I'm that's me too. I love I'm in the same boat, man. I just can't get enough of history. I love historical fiction, like shows. If I'm gonna
Oh
like
yes.
watch a show, it's like I love that it's about history or it's actually like relatively historically accurate. So um, I feel that too. Well, Justin, thanks so much for sharing a little bit about you and just a little bit of your background. I'd love to know, man, your kind of first foray into business. How did your first foray into business go? I know this the cool story. If we're thinking of the same one, I'm thinking of the backpack one, but I'd love to kind of know your first foray into business. How did did you always know you're gonna be an entrepreneur? Was it kind of something that like magically happened or like stumbled upon it? How did you first get into the business world?
Yeah, so I would say the backpack thing was a early stage thing, but even if we were going to all the way back, I feel like I was that kid on the playground or that kid who spent the time saying, "Hey, what can be made of this?" Right? That we have only these type of chips in the vending machine. Can we have other chips? Hey, I had a family a family connection that had early releases on shoes back when you have to used to wait in line for shoes. You couldn't do it from an app. I'd be like, "Hey, I can get a few pairs of these. Can I make profit off of this?" So I feel like even from the early days of things, like I've always been like looking for like arbitrage or looking for like little opportunities. And I think a lot of that is growing up. My mom had a small business, so seeing kind of what she had done and learning from her, and even helping her with things where she wasn't as technology savvy. She's like, "Can you type this up?" I was like, "Yeah, I know how to type, so let's go. I
Yeah.
can help you." So those are the early days, but then I feel like one of the kind of earlier things when I was more of an adult. I had a backpack line where I launched made in the US backpacks, learned a lot about like the different cost parameters of that from manufacturing in the US versus manufacturing abroad. Was able to successfully run that company and then actually make money off of that and profit. And it was an excellent thing to be able to do and learn a lot of intricacies of ecom. And that actually led me to working with clients in that space. But then also to technology. I had a technology business as well when I was in college and post college, those earlier years of that, and that was awesome as well. So technology and kind of like merchant apparel were my early days of things outside of like high school and middle school of being that kid in the playground selling to people that people were like probably were happy, but they're like, wait, are you this isn't free? No, it's going to cost you money. Nothing in life is free. Here we go. That bag of chips went from 50 cents at Costco to $2 on the playground. So
Man, I'm just picturing little Justin hustling out there, like making deals. And yeah, I tell you what, if there's one market where people find the money is the shoe market, man. If you want to get shoes,
yes,
people find like, people you'll say like, hey, I can't afford that car, but if you can get like a secret release of a brand new shoe, sneakerheads, man, I don't know how they do it, but they find money to come up with if they can get the coolest shoes. So with that, with the backpack side, I was just going to ask, so like, obviously you're in the manufacturing side with that. And then were you selling like via ecom there? Like, were you getting into
yep.
like, I don't know if it was PPC or if you were doing more like just organic marketing. I don't know if influencer marketing was it like going off then yet, how that was working.
Yeah. Yeah, and this will probably date myself of things. So it was definitely ecom, but it was like things have leveled
Way
up and
back.
are much more advanced now. But I feel like when I was doing that, it was doing an online store. And I think even at the time it was is it Magneto or WooCommerce? It was one of
Yeah.
those like earlier days of things
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
dating myself again there, where like it wasn't as easy to build a store. You had to get a developer, you had to like get some more help and support to do that. So I did do online, did offline where I like meet people, say, hey, I have this backpack line, like here's what I'm doing. Can I get in the store? Can I do things? So it was online, offline, and I did do ads, and that's where I burned a little money at first because you're learning advertising, but would do advertising to be able to kind of get people to the store, convert them through a funnel. So the great thing is, I feel like it was a full scale of learning everything to be able to build the backpack from scratch. I did it from my sketches to bring it to someone to actually design and do that, and then had a friend help me to make those sketches even better. To selling online, offline, and then also to just learning what worked and didn't work to be able to scale that. So, and that was something that scaled over six figures and was an awesome thing to be able to make money off that and then grow it. But it's definitely one of those things that, as we talk to our clients and talk to people, margins matter, right? Making in the US, which was very important to me at the time, just eroded my margins because at the time, I think for the backpacks when I wasn't buying at scale, it was going to be about 30% margin. Whereas if I would have went offshore with everything and not thinking about ads and all the costs that were going into it at the
Right.
time, I think I could have doubled those margins. It was about 60, 70, but then you have to buy more in bulk. And then also too, putting a made in US sticker when nothing's made in the US
Yeah.
was a tough thing with that. So
Yeah. Oh man. I have to pick your brain more about that business one day because that's just great. I mean, you were it sounds like you were early 20s, maybe? Not even?
yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was early mid 20s when I was doing that. And it's one of those things that for me, like I feel like as you're graduating college and I had a business degree and then also a communications master's that I got after. So I wanted to do something that was more entrepreneur focused while I was still in school and everything. And then post building that out and growing that. You really don't have and I think they probably more have it now, how to scale a brand, right? Like even the entrepreneurship classes, they just didn't have the same sort of thing of ecom, all those things. Now they do, but back then it was kind of like you're
Oh
learning
yes.
online or you're learning on the fly. So I
Yeah.
feel like I experimented on myself and it helped me with clients later of like, no, don't do that. That's going to cost you. And wait, your margin's only 20%. No, we need to get that more. You're not including advertising costs. You're not including labor. You're not including all these other things where people miss those details, you know?
Yeah. No. I feel like I'm with you. I feel like we went to YouTube University and like figure out all that kind of stuff. And well, that's just so cool to build that up to six figures as a guy in your early 20s. Just amazing stuff to figure that out. And then I'd love to just kind of know briefly, like you switched into the tech world. How did that transition happen? And then kind of Like what kind of product service were you guys getting into? How did that kind of work?
Yeah, so the awesome thing with kind of my background of things is it's naturally been one of those things where people are like, "Hey, like you've done this. This is amazing. How did you do this?" And I was like, "Well, I'm willing to just jump into it and learn."
Yeah.
And then also too, I did have university education, but I also had the mix of the street education of actually doing it. And I think since I married the two well, I ended up like a lot of times finding people saying, "Hey, can you help me with that?" So that actually was one of those things where when people were asking, "Can I get some help?" I would help them, but then it would either lead to clients or also just work. So that's actually how I got into working with a web development company, where they said, "Hey, we need someone to come on and help us grow our web development agency and help us with our clients." But then also too, you built things. A lot of times when clients are like, "Hey, have you built something and grown something?" I was like, "Yeah, I've done it." And then again, websites and things have gotten much better now. But like having that acumen and understanding on from the business side, but then also from the not technical building it side, but how to build a product, what does it look like, user experience, user interface. I had that. So that led to me actually transitioning to the tech world. And I remember the thing that really got me in is I went to school at Chapman University. Is they had a thing called Startup Weekend, which is something they used to do where you'd launch a startup in 72 hours. I remember participating in that. We didn't win first place. I think we won, I want to say third. And for an idea where you basically have to come with an idea from scratch, put together a team, and then build it in 72 hours and then present to a panel and then they'll vote. That was my foray in, right? And I knew from there, I was like, this is something I want to do because I was able to bring up a concept and idea. It was called Sponsta, I think, Sponsta, where it's basically connecting event and sponsors in one marketplace because there's a lot of events that are going on. They're like, hey, if I had sponsorship, I could be profitable. If I can grow it, it wasn't there. I was like, let's go and let's do it. I wasn't sure if it's going to be anything I pursue, but it was a competition in 72 hours. I wanted to win. So I did that. I led the team and then we were able to do it. And it was a fun experience. It was really super awesome. But that was my transition into things of taking my skills, taking the things I've learned and saying, hey, let's do this. And from there, that's kind of led me to working with clients and then kind of working in the tech industry as a kind of foundation and backbone.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to ask a couple of rapid fire questions here for you, Justin, because just curious, you've been a part of multiple exits. So how many different exits have you been a part of? Like what were the industries? Just would love to know real quick, because I know it's one of the things that, we get asked sometimes is like, ooh, has anyone sold a business before or been a part of that? Would love just to kind of know your experience. You don't have to say details of company names or anything, but just like, hey, what you've been a part of and in terms of exits.
Yes. So two exits in the tech industry. So I did spend a decent amount of time there on that side. An agency exit where I was able to be part of the agency and then be able to benefit from that, and also to a consumer product as well. So four exits that are official, but then like I feel like I've had a little bit of where I was involved in some, and then some where I was literally early employee really doing it, and others where it's like smaller team and doing that. So between technology, consulting and then also a consumer product as well.
Awesome. And I real quick too, I should mention you are in a phase of buying businesses, or at least have a history of buying businesses. Would love to just kind of know because now for people, I'm sure someone who's watching this is like, oh man, I have a local brick and mortar business. Well, cool thing is Justin actually just bought a med spa in the San Diego area. But Justin, I'm trying to remember, are there other business purchases as well? Is that the first one? I'm trying to remember, get my facts straight.
Yeah, so that was the first one that I've done myself. I have been involved in a smaller capacity with other partners, but now I want to say, let's do it myself. I want to fully go in. So that one I have full ownership of, but I'm also buying other businesses. So before we were even getting on the line early this morning, I was speaking with a few brokers and I'll have some calls the rest of this week. But like the key thing that I'm looking at doing is acquiring small businesses because I think one of the things of working with small business owners and being a small business owner myself in different capacities, there's an excellent opportunity to be able to grow them. So yeah, so I'm getting in the business buying game, and I feel like I have my things lined up that I'm doing. So the next few years, that's where I'm going. And again, I've worked with small businesses between entertainment, between tech, between retail, between GCs and kind of general contracting and along those things, wellness. So I've worked at the gamut of industry. So for me, it's just really applying it and the capital that I've saved up and deploying it. Because stock market and crypto is not giving me the returns I was hoping for. So I was
Yeah.
like, let's put it somewhere that I trust more and I can actually influence. Because when I invest in these big companies, I love Tesla, but I'm like, hey, I can't influence if the price goes up or down. Like my money's just sitting there and I just watch it go up and down. I was like, I'd rather just put it into small businesses. So
Yeah.
my investing has gone down there. It's more into small businesses. So
Well, I think it makes sense given your skill set, right? Like I was listening to Alex Ramosi the other day. He's like, he doesn't invest in, I'm sure he does it to some degree, but mostly not in the stock market, not in,
yep,
other things. It's back into small business because that's what he knows and that's how he does it. Um,
same thing, same thing.
Very
Yep.
last question for you, Justin, is I just, for people out there, what made you interested in becoming a profit coach, wanting to work with us at CEO Finance Academy? Obviously, you got a lot of stuff that you've got on your plate. So uh, just curious, for someone who's out there, like, well, why did Justin come work with them? Why would he want to help out? I'm just kind of curious what made you interested and what have you enjoyed about being a profit coach?
Yeah, I think one of the things is with any business, right, and as business owners, right, working with people that you enjoy, right? Like you have people on your staff, people that you work with. I feel like yourself and Alex are people that, like, when I got that conversation, I was like, I like these people because when I've worked for myself, a lot of times it's a lone wolf. As fun as that is, I feel like I don't have a teamwork or camaraderie. Like it's like literally like me, myself, and I. So getting to work with people that I feel like I'm bought in with, that got me excited, right? Like I like you guys and like you guys are what you see is what you get, right? And I think that's just something that I really appreciate, right? I've looked at other things and things I was like, hey, I want to work with some other people, but I'm like, it just didn't feel like the right sort of culture fit and value fit. So for me, like why I chose this is when you work with people that have excellent values, when you work with people that actually know what they're talking about business. When we talk, I was like, they actually know. Some people are like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. You're not entrepreneurs. You guys are entrepreneurs, right? So I think for me, the choice is pretty easy, based on values, based on actions, and based on the awesome people that you were. So for me, that fit well. And then also too, you guys are like I want to work with you, and then you can still buy your businesses because on my weekends, again, with those hobbies, I'm basically looking at broker deals and talking to brokers. So I'm a pretty boring guy. Family,
Hey,
buying businesses, and consulting. That's pretty much me. So in a circle, you know.
not the worst life to have, That sounds like honestly, it sounds like a great time. I've got to let Justin run here. Justin, I just want to say thank you so much. Also, if you're thinking about like Justin, for example, I just think about if you're wanting to sell your business in the next, who knows, whatever time frame, but especially like 3 to 5 years or maybe even 7, to work with someone who's actively buying and selling, to see what that looks like, is absolutely invaluable. So Justin, thank you so much for taking time to do this. I know I took some extra time out of your day, so I just want to say thanks so much and really appreciate it.
Totally fine. I appreciate it. Well.